We've just crossed the midway point of 2025, so here's a look at the best PS5 games of the year so far. Hello folks, Aiden here from Push Square, and today we're breaking down 10 of the best PS5 games of 2025 so far. This list has been agonised over by the Push Square team, so be sure to give the video a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this. Anyway, let's see what 2025 has been cooking up so far. After the lows of Dynasty Warriors 9, Dynasty Warriors Origins is a victorious comeback, and it kicks off our top 10, slipping down a few positions from our last quarterly update. This entry in the Manic franchise is donned more of an action RPG approach this time around, with a silent, all-powerful protagonist to boot. But it's managed to cook up some of the best and most balanced gameplay the series has ever seen, with some truly jaw-dropping battles with hundreds of on-screen enemies. It's the kind of scope and scale that the series has always yearned for, and now it has it with Dynasty Warriors Origins. But of course, we still need some of that, the character stuff, and we've got plenty of that here with its Three Kingdoms storyline. Put together, you've got a class hack-and-slash adventure. Atomfall is basically a British-based Fallout entry where as an amnesiac survivor, you awaken within a quarantine zone in the idyllic Lake District in England. The rolling hills sure are nice, but there's plenty of darkness buried beneath, with seedy characters, military dictatorships, murderous cults, mutated creatures, and even a sciencey mystery to uncover. The great part about Atomfall is that it lets you discover and tackle these things naturally, with no traditional map markers telling you exactly where to go or what to do. I actually once found a note indicating who a murderer was before I even found the body. It's got a nice immersive feel to it in that way, and it's easily one of Rebellion's best games to date. The Assassin's Creed series finally made its way to feudal Japan, and it was actually worth the wait with Assassin's Creed Shadows. Say what you will of the modern RPG AC games, but Shadows is one of the most technically impressive of the bunch, with dynamic and truly alive feeling environments, a dense and expansive open world, and a really satisfying feel to combat and gameplay with its two protagonists of Naoe and Yasuke. Whether it was the stealthy approach to gameplay with Naoe, the bone-crunching combat of Yasuke, or even the changes to the environment with dynamic seasons, there's a really versatile feel to this game that was polished from the word go, likely thanks to its numerous delays of course, and it is arguably one of the best looking games on PS5 right now. I had so much fun with this one, so if you're looking for a decent wee revenge storyline set in a world of samurais and ronins, then we here at Push Square would heartily recommend Assassin's Creed Shadows. The third entry in the rebooted Doom series, Doom the Dark Ages, aimed to move away from the jumping and zipping of Doom Eternal so as to focus on a more grounded and slow-paced experience that harkened back to the original Doom games. While arguably Eternal is better? I suppose it depends who you ask. The whole trilogy is now sort of down to your personal preference, with all reaching a really high, consistent bar. The Dark Ages has a keener focus on its story in this prequel, although it never really complicates things to the point that they get in the way of blasting demons to bits. Guns, melee, and the new shield saw all have a terrifically crunchy feel to them, and with its new parrying system, the Dark Ages has a brilliant rhythm to its combat, which I just personally loved. Basically, if you're into Doom, you need to play the Dark Ages, and if you're into shooters, then id Software is one of the best developers to ever do it. Elden Ring Nightreign. It's a really different kind of game from what you might expect from this developer and this franchise. It's a 3-player co-op game where you land in variants of the lands between, kill enemies and bosses to unlock weapons and perks, level up your health, stamina and mana, and then face off against big bosses in the hope of beating the ultimate boss. There's a very oversimplified version of the game, but what surprised me the most is how it manages to be a fun co-op experience that feels more fast-paced, but still holds on to that killer combat system from the base game. I've racked up dozens of hours on this, and me and my mates always just have such a laugh. There are no microtransactions or battle passes here, yet at least. Just a solid multiplayer offering that could easily entertain you and your mates for hours on end. Cracking the top 5, we have Monster Hunter Wilds, the ambitious sequel that takes us to the dusty plains of the Forbidden Lands. This is a big old RPG that you can play alone or with friends. And this being a Monster Hunter game, there are plenty of monsters to be hunted, and the designs and animations on these creatures are just top tier. What helps is that with like a dozen weapons to try out, meaning different playstyles to suit you, and various tools and resources needed to take down the ultimate hunt, it's cool that the game actually asks you to pay attention to your prey, making the game all the more immersive for it. And while its setting starts off a little like beige and dusty, it really opens up the further you get into the game. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a mammoth of a sequel that captures that magical spark by remaining kind of gloriously mundane, I suppose. It's an open world RPG, but this isn't a fantasy world. Instead, it's a medieval world that is authentic and historically accurate, or as historically accurate as me, not a historian, can say. But instead of questing for magical swords, you're engaging in brilliantly written conversations, avoiding bandits out on the road with some really tough combat, especially in the early game, and you're even worrying about where to sleep and what you'll be eating. It's a game that forces you to immerse yourself in the world and pay attention to its in-depth mechanics. It's a confidently directed sequel that is bigger and better than the original and manages to be as immersive as it is engrossing. For RPG fans, it's an absolute must-play. Now, when Hazelight Studios announced Split Fiction, I thought it was going to be good, but I didn't think it would be, top 3 games of the year good. But this co-op adventure, which sees two writers fall into their simulated worlds of fantasy and science fiction, is Hazelight basically showing off at this point. This is a much tougher game than its previous ones like It Takes Two or A Way Out, so it's maybe not quite as good a pick for non-gamers to play with their gamer partners or whatever. This game has so many moments though where I was actually blown away by its creativity. It never stays in the one place for too long, it remains wildly fun all the way to the credits, and it has one of the most insane climaxes I have ever played. I was grinning ear to ear when I was going through this thing. Split Fiction is an absolute joy, and what's even better is that if you buy the game, your mate can play for free, and that includes crossplay on other platforms. Incredible stuff. Well, shooting its way up to the number 2 spot, we have Clair Obscur Expedition 33, which is just a phenomenal debut game from Sandfall Interactive. It's an action RPG with heavy JRPG inspirations, and as many of us call it here at Push Square, kinda a modern day iteration of Final Fantasy that Final Fantasy is too scared to go for. Its world is gorgeous, its story is emotionally gripping, and its dynamic turn-based combat system is brilliantly addictive. It's a breath of fresh air for fantasy lovers, and I just adored its premise. If you're looking for a gripping single-player experience, then Clair Obscur is one of the best that this year has to offer so far. But despite our praise, something had to come out on top, and it's none other than Kojima Productions' Death Stranding 2 on the Beach. Kojima's weird and wonderful Delivery Man apocalypse game was a bit of a dark horse in the PlayStation exclusives of last gen, but steadily the believers have been coming around to its genius. I've always said that while I struggled with the story of the first game, its gameplay is wholly unique, where every hill, river, or even the cargo on your back can become a gameplay defining obstacle. Well, Death Stranding 2 takes everything it done right in the original and makes it even better. Environments now come with things like sandstorms, flash floods, and bushfires. There's a myriad of quality of life improvements that make the delivery simulator gameplay all the more engrossing. Combat has been vastly improved, leading to more engaging combat encounters, and the story has a much more emotional and character-based focus. All of that is wrapped up in easily the best looking game of this generation so far. So Death Stranding 2 isn't just a bigger and better sequel, it is a bona fide masterpiece. Thank you everyone for checking out our top 10 video. Let me know your own ratings for Game of the Year so far down in the comments below. And remember, while you're there, hit that big old subscribe button for more PlayStation video content just like this. Anyway, thank you as always for watching, and until next time, I've been Aaron, and this has been Push Square.